Hey guys, Woody the Unexceptional Gamer, and this is Mail Monday, a weekly series that's not so much about the gameplay, but instead is about your questions and my answers to them. Here we go! Before I start reading this, I'm going to say this. I recognize this guy's YouTube account. I know his name. And the reason I remembered him is that he was very generous a couple years ago when I did a March for Dimes charity fund drive. You know, all that money went straight to March of Dimes. There's nothing shady about it. But he was a big part of why that fundraiser was so successful. And it extra sucked to see a guy with so much caring for others in his heart struggle in his life. So let's talk about his letter. Here we go. Daughter passed away, family feuds, wife diagnosed with breast cancer. Hey Woody, longtime fan. First commentary I remember listening to yours was when you were working on your man cave. I have followed you since and always enjoyed your commentaries. Today, I don't know if I'm looking for advice or just some encouragement, but it seems like over the last 3 years, I've been beat down time and time again with major traumatic incidents in my life. I won't go into great detail about any of them, but I will give you a brief description on each. On July 30th, 2010, my daughter was born and diagnosed with Zellweger syndrome. I hope I pronounced that right. To make a long story short, her body could not dispose of the waste it was producing each day, and after 128 days of life, she passed away. This was a traumatic time for myself, my wife, and my 2 sons. During this time, my job of CEO as the family business has been consistently taking a back burner to my set of priorities since my daughter's diagnosis. My family has always been supportive until their allotted time for grieving had expired. At this time, I was removed from my position, CEO, to a place that was honestly more suited to my strengths. This was actually a good thing other than the way that it was handled. I was kicked out of my office and removed from our facility only to be relocated to an off-site building. I felt like I had been betrayed by those that are supposed to love you the most. Anyway, after a year of counseling and healing, I was dealt another blow today. My wife had a lump removed from her breast, and when the test came back, it had tested positive for breast cancer. So, once again, I find myself beat up and laying face down on the ground. My wife will have to have a double mastectomy, both breasts removed. And if the genetics test she had taken back come positive, she will likely have to have a hysterectomy, uterus removed as well. My 2 boys have already been through so much with their sister, I dread sitting them down and telling them about their mom. Not to mention that I'm a wreck. I need to be strong and supportive for my family, but I feel like I've had the wind beat out of me and just catching my breath is hard to do. Anyway, yes, I could use some advice, but I could also use a little encouragement as well. I know you get 1,000 messages a day, but if you happen to pick up on this one, Mail Monday or a simple reply would be appreciated. Keep up the good work, Woody. Thanks for listening. That's some heavy stuff you got going on there. Your daughter died. Your wife has a life-threatening cancer diagnosis. Your family is not been as supportive. There are a lot of time for grieving wore out, and you're feeling kind of alone. And I don't mean to get all traditional family on you like this, but I kind of see eye to eye with you as like sort of a leader of a family, right? Like in a lot of in my family, that's the guy's role, right? I'm kind of the leader. I'm the one that's supposed to stay strong. I'm the one that's supposed to, when things get tough, they get on my back. I carry them on my back. That's my role in the family, and I suspect that it's yours too. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes life is relentless, and it just never has, and never lets you catch your breath. You put it so well, right? It's like every day the universe lines up in some way to be a pain in the ass. Either it's trouble professionally or trouble personally or health. I remember my father used to have this line, and still does, and he would say, the only serious problems in life are medical and relationships. Anything else money can solve. And that sunk into my head so deep. It was like, yeah, you know what? Like crashing your car, that's not a problem. Breaking a thing, a house fire, whatever. These are all temporary issues that kind of, in a few months or a few years won't have any impact on who you are or what you're doing. But relationship and medical issues, that stuff sticks. And those are the issues that you're focused on. They're the toughest ones. You could be forgiven for taking a day or a week off and kind of, I don't know, mourning, you know, the fact that things are hard. And I would get that, you know. And then it comes time to fight, right? That's when you put your chin up, you stick your chest out, and you say, no. It's not this easy to hold me down. Nothing is this easy. I do not get held down like this, you know. I am your name here because I know it. You battle. You fight, right? You hold your head up. You partner with the people around you and say, you know, we are Team Gamertag or whatever your team is, and we do not lose. We keep going until we win. That's it. There is no quit in this thing. There is no stop in this thing. There is no rest in this thing. You took your breath. It's go time. It's go time right now. Your wife needs you. She has breast cancer and possibly more. We'll see how this genetic test comes out. But it is now time for you to step up. And I know you can do it. You know, I know you're not a loser. I from what I know of you, you've solved lots of problems in the past, and this is another one that's on your plate. And I get that this one sucks, and I get that this one is hard. But as you know, because you're no kid, sometimes life throws problems at you that suck. Sometimes life throws problems at you that are hard. And it is your job to solve them anyway. It is your job to say, yeah, this is hard. Yeah, this sucks. But I am equal to the task, and I will get this done. That's your gig. That's your lot in life. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You going to step up? I think you are. I think you're going to say, all right, that sucked. It's been hard. I know that. But fuck losing. That's not how we roll. We win. We keep going until we win. And that's your next step, man. I get it. I get that this stuff can line up and try and beat you. But, you know, here's adversity. You got more than your share, but not more than you can handle. Can't tell stories. Woody, first off, I want to tell you that I love all your videos. My favorite series is Mail Monday. Anyway, my problem is that whenever I tell a story, it always sounds dumb. I try to tell it like I remember it, because the way I remember it is funny, but it just drags out and people lose interest. My friends always say they tune out with my stories. I completely understand too, because I can feel it getting stupid. I don't know what to do. Any tips on how to tell stories would be better appreciated. Thanks. Dude, I totally feel you. I was exactly the same way. And this is what changed me. I had a coworker at 26 years old who had no patience for boring stories. And the second he lost interest, he would get on me and say, dude, is this about to get good? You got a point behind this, etc. And it made me acutely aware of that sort of, tipping point. Imagine that seesaw where things start going the boring route. And I think, all right, time to snap this up. Time to get this back on pace. It's the pacing of the story that is the key to the entire story. Leave out details. Talk a little faster. Think about what you're going to say before you say it. Those are the essential keys to storytelling. You need to concentrate on the pacing, even if that means thinking about your next step while you're talking about your current one. Make sure that you know how this thing's going to flow from start to end, and your storytelling will be way better. Again, the key to storytelling is moving along at a good pace. I'm a big fan of you and your videos, and I remember hearing you talk about Tourettes in some past videos. I have Tourettes, I do too, by the way, and I have some voluntary and involuntary tics. Most of my tics are voluntary, and I can control them most of the time. A few months ago, I started getting some breathing tics, where I would breathe hard through my mouth. Later, while doing the breathing through my nose, and sometimes it would cause nosebleeds. Do you have any tips to resist and control, or maybe even stop the tics? A reply would be awesome and greatly appreciated. For those of you that don't know about Tourette's, I've never had Tourette's. It's like a compulsion to do this thing. Sometimes the worst guys have like, they have to spout like a whole sentence, and usually they're terrible thoughts, like, you know, they're racial profanities or something like that. Imagine Lefty with Tourette's. That's terrible. And then, but other guys have a mild version of Tourette's like me, where I just have this compulsion to blink or maybe make like this facial grimace that is kind of unattractive. People comment about it on my live streams constantly, but I'm kind of old and over any kind of negative criticism. This gentleman, I'm assuming, is younger. I don't have any tricks to stop it. I don't. It's a weird thing, right? You know, like, why would I pick a letter I can't solve? Mostly just to commiserate with you, man. Like, I get this. I never did, I never had a breathing tic, but I would do this thing that I called flexing my eyes, where I would kind of strain my eye muscles to the point where I would give myself headaches and eye fatigue and such for no reason. Just because, like, if I didn't do it, I almost felt like incomplete as a person. I had to do it. I had to flex my eyeballs and like, kind of focus. It kind of feels like, you know, if you guys can cross-eye and look at your own nose, imagine holding that for like 10-20 seconds, but doing it like every 3 minutes. And after a while, your eyes just wear out and you get exhausted. And for me, it migrates. The one thing that does help me do better with my tics is a proper sleep schedule and getting enough sleep and a good sleep pattern. If I am the well-rested version of me, I don't blink as much. I don't do I'm much better. I'm almost existing without it. But as I fatigue and as I tire, I do it more and more and more, which is great because that's when I live stream, right? But there's two parts of it. You know, one, get your body in shape and get your sleep as sorted out as you can, because that's what works for me. And then the other thing is make sure that you know that you are still awesome, even though you do this. You know, like I am. I know that for damn sure, right? and you need to know that too. Like don't let like a nosebleed become this like major source of embarrassment. Just, you know, hold your head high and be like, yeah. I'm so boss, I can beat me up, or whatever it takes. Don't let this thing crush you. I talked to a guy recently who had a disease that caused him to lose all his bodily hair, and he went through a lot of struggles. It happened to him when he was a teenager, which is a pretty rough time to be different from everybody else. And now he's a little older and he's past that, and he's grown emotionally a ton. I hope that you don't sink into any kind of hardship, and remember that you're awesome.